All right, everyone, the Epstein case keeps getting weirder. First, we found out, of course, that Epstein had supposedly killed himself. He managed to do this without any outside input as to knowing that the guards were not there. They were sent away for maintenance. They did so outside of protocol during, apparently, it's being claimed, a multi-day long binge of double shifts, so they were like, dog-tired. The cameras malfunctioned, by the way, at the same time, so probably not video of what happened. And it turns out that the person performing the special autopsy also was the chair of the group investigating JFK, like, retroactively. And that's actually interesting because Baden, apparently that particular group said that the government hadn't investigated thoroughly enough, so maybe that's a good sign. Maybe Trump put him there, I don't know. Regardless, you've got the most fishy situation you could possibly have. You're telling me that the prison was so poorly run that they managed to let probably the most high-profile modern criminal figure of at least this decade, I would think, kill himself in jail. All of these coincidences lined up. But let me suspend that disbelief here and just think about something. Most Americans, I think, are looking at this case and saying there's foul play. At the very least, there's negligence involved, if not outright foul play. That is a murder. Something very fishy happened. It shouldn't have happened. It stinks to high hell. In that situation, you'd think a reasonable person would say, if they had any deductive reasoning, they would say, okay, well, let's find out who this person was connected with, who would benefit potentially from him keeling over, whether he was murdered or whether he was allowed to kill himself or whether this was a case of total fucking gross negligence aside, who specifically would be involved. Now, if I come out and say, well, I think, here's 3 reasons why I think Kevin Spacey was involved. CNN is not going to contort itself into a pretzel explaining why that's a conspiracy theory. They're not going to report on it. They're not going to consider it newsworthy, but they're not going to label it a dangerous extremist conspiracy theory. Only one group in the entire listing of people that were associated with Epstein is subject to that particular level of protection. That's the Clintons. Well, you'll excuse me if I find that a little bit odd too. How is it that the corporate media had all of these prepackaged articles ready to go within 10 minutes of Epstein killing himself? Because it seems like that was about as quick as it happened. Oh my god, evil right-wingers are spawning these horrible, evil conspiracy theories. These utter fanatics are dog-whistling for the Clintons to be harmed and weird shit like that. That's funny because people are also mentioning Trump being involved. I haven't seen a single story from one of these outlets defending him, despite the fact that we have, again, supposedly a Share Blue circular talking about a coordinated paid-for shilling effort by people who aren't always even American for the Democratic Party to try to cast blame on Trump for the Epstein death. So there's only one group in the whole U.S. that's never culpable for anything, and it's the Clintons. This has happened before, by the way. This happened, back when Hillary Clinton was crucifying people who alleged that Bill, did weird shit, raped him and stuff. They were the media darlings of that particular era. It was very funny at the end of the Clinton era to see them trying to blame the evil media that wouldn't give us a chance, or like when Clinton was blaming the DNC or the corporate media for not backing her up enough in the 2016 campaign. They pulled out all the stops. They literally fawned over her. The media was taking marching orders in some cases, literally, from the Clinton campaign, and yet she still blamed them for her loss. Oh, it was those bad stories that they wrote about me. Yes, the 1 in 100 stories that questioned any aspect of your capabilities. That's what sunk your campaign. It wasn't the lack of gusto in your campaign. It wasn't constantly canceling events and getting 3-to-1 by Trump. No, it was the DNC. They only gave you $1 billion instead of $2 billion. That really, it really hurt her, I guess, because she doesn't know what to do unless you throw money at her and give her a focus group. It's funny how the Clintons are the only group in the whole United States that's never a suspect. If you consider them to be a people of interest in anything that goes on, it's automatically a conspiracy theory. You can say that about Spacey or Trump. You can talk about Prince Andrew. All of these other people are fair game. If they went to Lolita Island, or they were friends with Epstein, or they talked about Epstein, or there's a picture of them near Epstein, like they're walking in opposite directions on a New York City street that connects them somehow, that's all fair game. It's not a conspiracy theory, no article from CNN defending the people, no matter how tangential and loose the evidence is. But when Bill Clinton goes there 5 fucking times to Epstein's Island, When the Clintons are directly connected to several of the people in the now released, opened up documents from the initial case against him. People like Bill Richardson, like that Mitchell senator from, again, I think Alabama or whatever. When the Clintons are connected to them, when the Clintons are like a piece of spaghetti worming around the pasta bowl that is Epstein, it's considered a conspiracy theory to notice that and to say it may be significant. What I would say is it's dangerous to say, well, the Clintons did it. Haha, hashtag Clinton body count. Okay, I understand the humor. It's definitely funny. There are thousands of people that were well connected financially in the sense of political power, whatever, Hollyweird. Thousands of people who visited his island and stuff and did like weird shit. And some of these people, we know that they're into weird shit, including allegedly Bill Clinton. To say that they solely are the ones responsible is no different than saying, well, Trump did it. Trump is muzzling Barr, and Rosenstein came out to defend him because he's part of the evil game. It's very funny to see the Democrats crucify Rod Rosenstein. Who predicted that that would happen? In the wake of him appearing there with Barr to say, yeah, the Mueller probe is above board and fine, I have no problem with it. The liberals spent over a year praising Rosenstein, saying he was a knight in shining armor and that he and Comey and these others and Mueller were going to take Donald Trump down for his evil Russian antics. When it turned out that wasn't the case, they threw Rosenstein under the bus within mere minutes. When he appeared with William Barr there, they threw him under the bus before the press conference was even analyzed by the legacy media. Very interesting how that sort of thing happens. It comes out on Twitter and says, look, this happens all the time. People, get fucked in prison under weird circumstances. Now, all of a sudden, he's a Trump shill. Very interesting, again. As far as I know, a lifelong Democrat, isn't he? Not like Comey. Comey was a Republican. He's just never Trumper. But remember, the first rule of so-called journalism is thou shalt not mention the Clintons in a negative light. You're not allowed to say that. Anyone else is fine. Like you can say, well, Bob Dole killed a man. Fucking JFK did weird shit. You can say anything you want about any political figure except the Clintons. It's amazing how this happens. And it's not just even like diehard Democrats that'll come out. There are people that are like, generally speaking on the apolitical side, and they'll say, well, everyone's blaming the Clintons for everything. Well, why is it that the Clintons are adjacent to every major crime that seems to occur? It's a little bit mysterious after a while now, fucking, isn't it? I'm not saying that they're responsible at all. When I say, Clinton crime, it's meant to be a joke, but they are involved with the situation. It's unique how they are protected, and none of these other people are ever mentioned in the context of conspiracy theories. You can say that Trump did it, that's fine. You can say that Barr did it, that's fine. You can say Rosenstein's involved. You can say Comey's involved. You can say Kevin Spacey and Prince Andrew and Bill Richardson. All of these others, bipartisan, it doesn't matter who they are. You can mention them, you can talk about them for hours. Nobody calls you a dangerous conspiracy theory. Only when you drag the Clintons in does that suddenly become relevant. Trump, not one to waste a circumstance like this, therefore retweeting actually, I can't remember the user, another Twitter user that was talking about the Clinton stuff, the Clinton connection, saying, well, we know what happened, hashtag like Epstein murdered or something. And these people pounce and they go crazy and they took the Trump bait, really, is what happened. This is red meat to his base. I think the average American knows that this case is at least fishy. I speculate further. I think that this is a wrongful death. I don't think there's much question. The number of coincidences is staggering. So he was taken off suicide watch the day before. The same day, by the way, you have this dump of documents from the first case against him, naming some of these prominent individuals, that this other girl who claims she was being pimped out and used as a recruiter and stuff, she says, yeah, he sent me to Bill Richardson, he sent me to Prince Andrew, he sent me to all these people, some scientist named Minsky, I think, and all of these, rich and powerful, famous individuals, yes, as being pimped out. So those happen, and then suicide watch ends. The guards are sent off for maintenance after like a 5-day double shift binge, so they basically had no sleep, no time to themselves. They don't know what's going on. They're probably hallucinating at that fucking point. The cameras magically glitch out at the same goddamn fucking 10-minute piece of time. How many coincidences have to line up before any sane, rational individual says, regardless of what group was responsible, something terrible happened here that shouldn't have happened and deserves a full investigation? Why don't you check all of the right now? They should lock down that goddamn prison. They should gather every bit of forensic evidence. They should interview every prisoner and every guard. They should go through the personal accounts and the business accounts of everyone in and around that prison. They should check the footage of every other surveillance equipment that they have in the entire prison. They should find out who done it. But that's probably not going to happen. Look, the FBI is already involved. That means the FBI was sent in, probably scrubbed everything that was relevant. Oh, yeah, there's a wrongful death here, but we don't know who did it. Yeah, sorry, but you'll probably find out months from now, because this always seems to be the case, too. The FBI lost critical evidence. Well, yeah, we had all of these papers that we, by the way, never duplicated or anything, or filed in multiple places, but we lost them. Yeah, that briefcase was stolen from an agent, a courier that stopped at Dunkin' Donuts on the way to D.C. or something. Yeah, sorry, that particular tape that shows Epstein's dead body right as he was still practically twitching and hadn't even gone through rigor mortis yet. Yeah, that tape, we lost it. Yeah, it ended up getting tossed in a vulcanizer at the pottery factory or something. Sorry about that. I'm sorry it got destroyed. You know, we were going by a construction site and the electromagnetic arm of one of these cranes swung out over the road and it fucked up the tape. And it's amazing how these things happen. I certainly didn't rub a magnet up and down on it over and over again in an effort to delete any data. Never happened. No. It was an electromagnetic arm of a crane in a construction zone. Yeah, sorry. Fucking Contra rebels stole our laptop, so we don't have the data anymore. This is the sort of weird shit that happens. It's almost a dog whistle. It's almost like a taunt. It almost seems like a taunt. Well, hey, haha, we killed this dude. We're suppressing evidence. You know that it's what happened, but haha, you'll never find out exactly how it was done. And so it's an attempt to demoralize people and keep people from wanting the truth. By the way, there's an active campaign by shills right now to turn this into a partisan issue anyway. To try to distract the public from the real story. The real story is, hey, a dude at the center of a massive investigation into thousands of individuals across the political, banking, corporate, and Hollywood spectrum all across the world. An investigation of this individual has been hazarded because he supposedly killed himself under circumstances that are A++ weird. That's basically what happened. What should happen is that 100% of people should be asking for actual answers. Partisan my ass. There's nothing partisan about it. The only odd point is that the one same group of people that's always sheltered from every other bit of fucking criticism is just as sheltered now. Because they are legacy media darlings. You are a conspiracy theorist if you speculate even the possibility of Clintonian involvement. Trump involvement? Fine. Spacey involvement? Fine. Prince Andrew? Yeah, all these things are fine. Perfectly acceptable. You'll probably get deplatformed if you say you think the Clintons did it. Evil, dangerous conspiracy theorist. You're an extremist and you're trying to cause violence. That's what it boils down to. That's about all. Peace out.